Okay, so we are going to be consider yourself hot mic.
Okay. I always think of hot mics. I did radio, television, and film. Mics are always hot.
Oh, mics are always hot. So, yes, we are hot here today.
Here's the
Coffee and politics. Oh.
It's okay. Come back later.
You sure? Okay. All right. Coffee and Politics online this morning with Sydney Walker, and we have a returning guest here. So, gosh, that was back at the MLK Library where you and Judge Bennett came on. We were talking about MDA, ecstasy, and mental health, and people self-medicating themselves in those situations. So, for those of you who may not have seen this show, we have Judge Margaret Jones-Johnson today. She is with Dallas County Probate Court number 3. And we're going to talk about, the probate process. And I do definitely want to tie that into, mental health and what families can do in those situations where, family member is not in their best, but they need some help and they're just not getting help themselves. So thank you and good morning for coming back on.
Good morning.
So just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and Probate Court 3, and we'll just jump right into the discussion.
Okay. So I'm Margaret Jones-Johnson. I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I went to law school here in Texas. After graduating undergrad, I got married, divorced, and went to law school here. 1 year in Houston, and then completed my legal education here in the DFW area. Texas Wesleyan School of Law, which is now known as Texas A&M School of Law.
Oh, wow.
So when I started out practice, I was invited by the public defender, Lynn Richardson.
Wow.
To go to a CLE on mental health. In the commitment process and involuntary commitments and so forth on the criminal side.
Okay.
And so I started doing that, and I have been doing it ever since I got licensed, which is over 20-something years ago. But
hey, there comes wisdom with those numbers. So yes, we appreciate that.
Yes, and so my practice consisted of criminal, probate, and sports and entertainment, and the mental health went into all areas of law.
Okay.
And so with the entertainment, it affected a lot of players that were suffering from CTE.
Yeah.
And the even young girls that are playing soccer, they're getting head injuries. You just wouldn't imagine how it's affecting people that are playing sports.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't have a judge in probate that understood that.
Okay.
And also minor children that are playing professional sports or doing professional entertainment, which is visual or performing arts, or non-visual. I mean, just visual, not actually performing arts like artists, painters, etc.
Yeah.
They had to have guardianship set up. They should have guardianship set up so that the parents can't spend their money. Not saying that all of them do,
right?
But it's to
protect them,
right?
Yes, because that is their earnings,
right?
It is not a checkbook for someone else. And the most famous case I think everyone knows that has to deal with that is dear soul Britney Spears.
Britney Spears and the little guy that played on Facts of Life.
Oh yes,
and
Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman and Leanne Rhymes. Kim Fields paid a visit to Dallas when I first got a license to practice, and she was asking us the sports and entertainment section where I was only peppering to see assault. Where it was asking us to make sure that we protected the children.
Okay.
And so that was when I knew that was a need, and then I could fulfill.
For you.
Yes. And I
okay.
could
Okay, that's great. So I don't think that people, one, and thank you for explaining that and telling us about your background, because we don't think probate court covering that area and needing that expertise. We think probate is, probating a will when someone passes. So I think that's the majority of the experience that common folks have. So with that being said, I want to dive in more on the kids aspect of it. I think that is something, especially since we're having kids being engaged with being influencers, being on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, those sorts of things, and earning royalties and income that way. That's something that they would need to make sure that they're protected in that space. So I'm parent A, and I have, this wonderful child that is on YouTube. They're being a YouTuber, as they call it, and playing their games and talking about Roblox and all Minecraft and all that kind of stuff. And they're getting products from companies, but they're also have merchandise that they're selling, and they're getting monies, royalties from YouTube, and I may have used the wrong term just then. So they're earning money based on the streams and the number of viewers that they're getting. So parents, what do I do as the first step with setting up the guardianship and what that means for my baby?
Well, you have to recognize that they're going to have someone protecting them other than you.
Okay.
So there will be an ad litem appointed to make sure that isn't, whatever the decision is based upon what their goal is, to make sure that is the best interest for them. Yeah. Whether it's setting up the copyrights, protections, and all of that.
Okay.
If they are doing music, if they're union members, whether that union is going to meet their needs and make sure that they get their royalties and everything from all areas of broadcast, whether it's, and the most lucrative is through radio.
Okay.
And then you have to have someone that understands how their contracts are written and can review them and make sure that those are in their best interest. Because even though you have family members that may have gone to junior college for 2 years in accounting, doesn't mean that they should be their financial manager.
Advisor.
Yes.
We'll say advisor.
Okay.
Yeah, manager. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the guardianship ensures that the best protections and interests are for that child's needs and goals.
Who comes up with who the guardian is?
Well, it could be a parent if they can demonstrate that they have the knowledge and skills to do that.
Okay.
But if they don't, then sometimes the court will appoint a third party to do that.
Okay.
And we have some attorneys that are CPAs that are very savvy in those areas and knowledgeable. Sometimes it may not be an attorney that's a CPA, but they can engage other people to help navigate that journey for that child. And you also need to take into account not all children or minors want to be under guardianship, and some of them want to be emancipated and do it on their own and say, thank you, Mom, thank you, Dad, but
I got it now. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
You can't even get onto the computer, so how can you help me navigate this? So
yes, and we have some kids out there like that that's like, Mom, Dad, I told you how to X, Y, and Z because,
right.
they've only known in the electronic world.
Right. But you also need to keep in mind that there are so many dark people trying to influence these kids in all kinds of ways. And
right.
so you we've had some CLEs about
What's the CLE?
continuing legal education.
Okay, got you.
Where one presenter was talking about the situation in the DFW. Actually, that presenter and the guy over the Texas Workforce Commission was talking about, the pornography,
Okay, yeah.
child pornography that was trying to raise its ugly head in Dallas,
Right.
and overworking children over the hours for productions years ago. And so the Workforce Commission comes in and they tag them with penalties and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
And they do those things. So we all work together, and so it's good to have someone on the bench that's experienced and know that that's supposed to happen,
Got you.
and make sure that the parents aren't overworking the kids, or the agent.
Isn't overworking them. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the guardian should be somebody who's completely neutral and doesn't really know anything personally about the child and the family and dynamics and all that kind of stuff, but really is well educated on sports and entertainment and how that world does exist and how there are some things that shouldn't exist, so they can look out for that. So when looking for a guardian, I'm assuming that you guys at the courts, and this I would think it would be true for most counties and states across the U.S., that there's a network that you guys pull from. So
Right. They are certified. You have to go through certification. I think it's every 2 years or so. I go almost every year. I get the training so that I don't even
you
remember.
stay fresh on
Yeah. Yeah, and so they have to know about, alternatives to guardianships that are available. So it goes all across the spectrum, from minors all the way up to senior citizens.
Okay.
And so those people that do guardianships, they have to be certified before they can even file.
Okay, to become one.
No, even do the paperwork to initiate the guardianship.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So if they can't do it unless they are certified.
Oh, so there's nobody doing this in the process. They have to have that seal of approval before they can even.
Right. And it hasn't always been that way, but now it is.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there were some situations that caused that to come to be, unfortunately. Okay.
Right.
So now that the guardianship has been established and assigned to the case, kind of what are they doing with regards to court appearances and the like?
Okay, so there's two types of guardianships. There's the one over the person only,
Okay.
and the other is over their estate, the money.
The money and the goods. Okay, property, anything of that
Right.
nature.
Right, right. And so guardians of the person usually are under a minimum bond.
Okay, what does that mean?
That they pay a security to make sure that they're going to do what they're supposed to do.
Oh,
So it's
they
literally
have
like
some
$100.
Okay.
It's like $100.
Okay.
But then there's some kids that may be trust babies or whatever, and they have a lot of money. So in order to be the guardian over that money, you have to be bonded, which is like an insurance policy.
Okay.
So you won't take off with the money or mismanage the money or any of those type of things.
Okay.
And
yeah.
you
So if it helps to protect any liability, and if some issues were
Right.
found, then that insurance covers
Right.
those things.
And they can't do anything without court permission. They're
Oh,
not
okay.
supposed to ever do anything without court permission.
So here, have a guardian over my estates, and gosh, that reminds me of the movie Hitch, where the young lady, because I always quote movies and whatnot, where she had to get permission from the board to spend her money to invest it in her friend's fashion company. Those of y'all who remember Hitch.
Was she a minor?
No, she was a grown woman.
Well, that may not have been a guardianship. It was probably trust.
Okay. Probably so.
Where they have restrictions and stuff like that. Because you don't, if you want to set up a trust, you really don't want to be in probate, but sometimes you have to have someone the court to interpret the terms.
Okay.
And to make sure that whatever the person's wishes are for the trust to do or not do are followed.
Or being abided by. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, we're here with Judge Margaret Jones-Johnson of Probate Court 3 here in Dallas County. And I'm really getting educated on this. I mean, and this is the whole point of Coffee and Politics Online, is to learn what our courts do and what these processes are, so we can be better informed as a participant in any cases that go before the courts. But also, people are up for re-election, and people are running for these seats. So it's good to understand what the individual is running for and what it means to run for a particular seat. So, and I know I want to talk about trust, but okay, so we're going back to the guardianship and interpreting the interest of what's best for me and spending the monies appropriately based on, because you brought up based on the goals.
Right.
So if I have a goal that, because I'm a minor, that of course college is covered, and that's what I want to do. But also, are things in there as well as for like what's provided minimally as far as housing, food, all that kind of stuff? Or
the money has to be for the sole benefit of the alleged incapacitated person.
Okay.
So there could be an incapacity because they are under the age of 18, not of legal age.
Okay.
Then there are others that may have a traumatic brain injury, they may have Alzheimer's, all these other things. But the exception is mental illness.
Okay.
If they have a diagnosis of mental illness, only they are not good candidates for guardianship. Because people, you cannot control them.
Exactly.
And you have to account each year of the location, condition of the ward.
Okay.
You have to provide that, and that becomes problematic when you have someone
who's grown or legal age,
right,
and they're not necessarily doing what's best for themselves. But
yeah,
and I point this out because this is very typical. Not taking their medication.
Right. That is one thing that a guardian can do, but only if the alleged incapacitated person has an additional diagnosis other than mental illness, such as IDD, or they may have Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Or, well, I should say
IDD?
Intellectual disability.
Got you.
Which they used to call
mental retardation.
Correct. But some people have things. You can do things to avoid having a guardianship, because that's the most restrictive thing that you can do to a person, because you take away all of their rights, or most of their rights.
Oh no!
Their right to vote, their right to live wherever they want to, right to operate a motor vehicle, who they want to marry. All of those, most of those rights are taken away unless you ask for them to retain those rights.
Okay, so make mental note when setting up a guardianship, not to take away someone's rights. And I can see with minors being restrictive in that regard, because they're minors, and typically parents act in that capacity, especially if someone underage wants to get married. You have to get permission in order for that to happen. So I can definitely understand that. But as a grown person, and having a guardianship, that does sound like all of a sudden now you're 3 years old again.
And trust me, the alleged incapacitated people do put up a fight. A lot of them do. They really do.
Would.
And so, if you have estate planning documents in place to avoid a guardianship,
okay,
those are less restrictive, and those are primarily considered by the courts, such as a power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
If you have mental health issues, you can designate someone to make mental health decisions for you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
just
so,
like the medical power of attorney.
Exactly.
Okay.
There are lots of other alternatives available.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so those are preferred over a guardianship because their guardianship is very restrictive.
Okay, so let's say, and we're jumping around here, but I love that this conversation is so good. So we have someone that, okay, they're, and I hate to use the typical mental health cases, but everybody knows them, schizophrenia, bipolar, and at this point, taking off their meds, or they took themselves off their meds, and now they're just kind of not in the best capacity for taking care of themselves, and they're actually doing more harm to themselves. So in those situations where they are a danger to themselves and others, so what do you do in that space where here I am, auntie, trying to do what's best for a nephew, and I want to make sure that he reaches his potential and just take his medications because it works for him. He can have a better productive life. But, he's over the age of 18,
mm-hmm.
and, you can't make people swallow pills.
You can't make anyone do any of that, but there are different programs that are available that they can work with. Families work with NAMI. So you have the group support, and what worked for one person may work for you, or it may not work for you. But it is a network of people to help navigate that.
Okay.
Because it's very challenging.
Right. Because I could see nephew saying, auntie, I love you, but no.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, well, baby, you don't punch the hole and tore up, the suite that you were living in my house. And
destruction of property, all of that.
And I don't want him to go to jail over that.
Right.
I just want him to be stable. Yes, go ahead.
So when a person has a mental illness diagnosis and they decompensate to the point where they're a danger to themselves or others, you can seek out a mental illness warrant if they meet the criteria.
Okay.
And that includes recent overt acts or statements that they may have made, such as they are going to kill you or themselves or whatever. They're destroying property, just doing things self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
And you can drive them to a facility, and hopefully they will check in themselves voluntarily, and they will be evaluated. But if they don't go voluntarily, you can seek out a mental illness warrant, and then the officers are ordered by warrant to pick them up and take them to the nearest facility for treatment. And then while they're there, they have 48 hours to evaluate them. Medical and psych evaluations for treatment. And then they have to do it within 48 hours. If they don't, then they have to release the patient.
Oh, gosh.
Mm-hmm. So that way
this
the doctor...
This is where that 48-hour hold that people like to call.
Well, Well,
It's not really a hold.
It's just
It's just a period where they have to have those evaluations done. Okay.
right. If they get the evaluations done, then they make an application to the court to detain them for or under an order of protective custody, which is also called an OPC.
Okay.
That authorizes the facility to hold the patient or detain the patient an additional 30 days for further treatment.
Okay. Okay.
But during that 30-day period, all along this continuum, there are pauses. You have the 48 hours to evaluate.
Yes.
They don't meet that, then they have to be immediately released.
Okay.
Or discharged. Then they get the OPC. There's 30 days, but 14 days into that 40-day period, they have a right to a hearing.
The individual has the right to the hearing and contest the OPC.
No, whether or not they need to be continued or committed for inpatient or outpatient.
Okay. Okay.
And so, but even before then, there's a probable cause hearing. Whether there's probable cause to continue to detain the patient up until the time of the hearing, the 14-day hearing.
Gotcha.
So there's pauses along the way to protect the patient's rights because we don't want people detained unlawfully. And if they're not,
I know some unscrupulous people who would do some bullshit like that. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to. We've seen people try to abuse the system that are going through divorces.
Yes.
Or
child custody cases. Yes.
Yeah. So, thank God He's given me the ability to discern, and I rely on that a lot. Because he's the main reason why I sit here today and have this responsibility, because I know who I have to answer to and why. And, I also have to protect the patient's rights. And so,
above anybody else.
Mm-hmm, it's for the best interest, the cases are styled in the best interest and protection of the patient, proposed patient.
So, I'm the one. And just use me as an example. So now we're trying to do the 30 days on me, and there's going to be a hearing and the probable cause. Do I have representation?
Yes, you're immediately assigned an attorney.
Okay, great.
Yes, and we work with the public defenders. I used to be the mental health public defender for Dallas County.
Okay.
Dallas County has a very good public defender program.
Okay, Dallas County, I'm coming to have the public defenders on the show. Get ready.
It's been wonderful to work with them. They care about the patients. They advocate on behalf of their patients.
Okay.
They are very well aware of community programs that are available, where the patients don't necessarily have to go inpatient, where they can go outpatient. They're well aware of the criminal diversion programs because they work those programs as well.
Right.
So they are very astute,
versed
yes,
on that.
Right.
Okay.
And so, what I can say is that when I came on board for the mental illness court, they had a AOT program, which is assistant outpatient treatment.
Okay.
The person that presides over that, sometimes they are a duly elected judge or an associate judge.
Okay.
But it is someone that wears a black robe, and they have the black robe effect over the patient to encourage them to take their medications and go to their
kind
groups.
of a scare straight sort of it's the thought process behind it that, hey, this is very important for your health and well-being. Take this seriously. You may feel better, but it's because you're doing X, Y, and Z that you're feeling better, and don't stop doing those things.
Right.
Okay. That's good to know. Gosh, there's so much involved in this. Gosh, and we only have an hour. You're going to have to come back.
And it's not just my court.
Right.
We work with a lot of departments within Dallas County. We work with the Sheriff's Department. We work with the public defenders. We work with the DA's office.
Right.
We work with a lot of departments, the clerk's department.
Okay.
We work with a lot of departments. We all work together.
Okay.
And I don't do this alone. And I really appreciate all of us working together. And it's been a good thing. And I just wish that we had more beds available.
Of course.
State Representative Tony Rose really goes down to Austin and fights for us to get the funding that we need.
Right.
And our local mental health authority works
Yes.
really well with us with the funding and developing new outreaches in the community and so forth.
So, with that being said, I was asked this question on the campaign trail with, individuals that are homeless or not, and they have this mental challenge, and they're violent, and they need that stability. But back in '81, the Omnibus Act, came about, and the feds returned the rights back to the states and funding back to the states for supporting mental health facilities, long-term care. And so with those situations, because they didn't disappear in the 80s, and I know from researching it that a lot of the thought process behind it was, well, we have pharmaceuticals now, so that will negate needing to have your state mental hospitals. So when you're presented with, and me as the example again, we've the 48-hour evaluation period, the 14 days, the probable cause, getting the 30 days. And let's just say it is found that I am in such a state, even with pharmacological assistance, because it's not a cure, it's assistance, that I will need more long-term care. So how does that work? 'Cause
The hospitals make the application
okay,
for long-term treatment
okay,
because what they're doing currently isn't resolving the situation.
right,
And so they make the application
okay.
for long-term treatment.
So do we have facilities anymore that do that?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do have some that treat for long-term care. However, they have to meet the criteria.
Okay.
Okay. And there is a shortage of beds.
I'm sure it is.
There is a shortage of beds. And I've
Pardon me.
known people that are still in facilities, even since I've been on the bench,
Okay.
up until this date, 10 years or more, still in facilities. And Lord knows, I thank God that I haven't had that experience and being in a facility, and I always wondered how they felt being institutionalized.
Yeah.
But they're only there because they meet the criteria. And we're
Okay.
talking serious
Right.
mental illness where they would harm people.
Right. Okay.
Is very serious.
Yeah. Okay. So this is good to know that there are still facilities around that deal with that. And unfortunately, yes, I'm sure there is a major shortage of beds. Because the one here that most people knew was the Terrell State Hospital, and I do believe that it closed. And
It's still open.
it's still open. Okay, please, yes, correct me if I am wrong.
I think at one point in time they were treating children, but that I don't think that they do that anymore.
Okay,
I would like to see a place to do that, but I think that they are, when I say they, the local mental health authority is working to fill
Okay.
that void.
okay,
But there's not a cure-all for everything, and you got the civil. We do the civil side.
Yes.
And there's a criminal side to that as well.
Okay. Talk about that.
Well, I don't do a lot of criminal
I know.
anymore.
Just touch on it.
Okay,
Yes.
so under Chapter 55 of the Family Code deals with the minor children with the mental illness.
Okay.
In the process on that.
Okay.
55.
Okay. All right.
And then on the adult side, the criminal courts do a competency hearing to determine whether they meet the standards on the competency
Okay.
and whether they're going to go for competency restoration, where they come through our court to be medicated, because we're the only ones that can order the administration of the medication.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. And so after the competency hearing, they have the 180 days to get them over to us to get them into a hospital for competency restoration, which means they give them the medicine to the point where they are competent to stand trial,
Right.
able to help their attorney
Have
them.
their wherewithal so they
Right.
understand what's going on.
Yeah, in trial.
Yes.
And so, and then we have
playing crazy. You just can't sit up there and play crazy to get out of criminal proceedings.
and we don't use the word C. We don't use the C word.
Okay.
Special needs.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then on the civil side, we have people. God bless this. A patient who just cannot. He cannot help himself. He is gravely disabled to the point where he cannot do anything for himself. He can't even go outside and tie a shoe. He's that gravely that's
Okay.
the third part. Danger to self, others are gravely disabled to the point where they can't.
They literally have to have someone there
Exactly.
doing almost pretty much everything. For
Yeah,
them.
they're disorganized. They do not have a clear chain of thought or anything. They're just
very far gone. Okay. Wow. So that brings me to San Jose. This is the mayor there, and
I love San Jose.
so the mayor there,
California,
because a lot of cities are having problems with homelessness, and the mayor there stated that with city services and trying to get people out of that particular lifestyle, that if they reject city help 3 times in an 18-month period, they're going to be forced to take the services to transition them out of homelessness. But it's not that easy listening to you. So I know people want to, and here's the challenge with that. Yes, the homeless person has their rights. They do have the right to be homeless, but the rest of us that are watching them and dealing with the effects of the homeless, and it's not just one person now, we're seeing more and more of it. We're being impacted and our rights are being infringed upon. So what do we do in those situations where this person needs help but they're just refusing it?
I think the best approach, from my experience, you got to have people in those positions that are working with them, that are approachable, that knows how to approach someone with a mental illness. You can get the wrong fit,
Of course,
and it
will backfire.
Exactly, and it'll escalate to a situation where they may feel more paranoid than they've ever felt in their life.
Threatened.
And then they, it goes all the way south and hell in a handbasket. So the first thing is you got to make sure that you have the right type of people working the services with a person with mental illness. It has to be a good fit.
Okay.
And they have to want to do it.
Okay.
The person that's going to be working with them and the patient.
Okay. Yes.
Proposed patient.
Yes.
And it can be done, but when you try to, and the people that have mental illness and that have gone to hospitals, a lot of them know what medications work and what doesn't work.
Yes.
And some of them have severe allergic reactions to the medications. And one side effect of certain medications is constipation.
Right.
And so if you don't like being constipated as a person in your quote right mind, they don't either.
Right.
So we have to make sure that they're treating their mind,
The whole person.
Exactly. So that they're getting the proper nutrition. But then you've got to deal also with the paranoia. They don't want to eat certain foods because it's not in package, and they feel that they're going to be poisoned. And the people that are working with them have to understand their perspective.
Right.
And you have to have everything packaged and appealable to them to want to do it. So it takes
a village.
Yes. It takes education. It takes education about the whole process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because, the city of Dallas has services, and they are working diligently, and we have Housing Forward, and they're going to be on the show in October to help manage the homeless population. And the biggest thing, and I get both sides of it, and I also understand that for greater society, people are becoming, I call it compassion fatigue. We understand someone's plight. We understand that, things happen. But the person who wants to just chronically be homeless, and, we see them pitching up in tents, and we have body processes that happen, that they're doing it outdoors, and the stench and everything else, or you're seeing, the after effects with trash and condoms and drug paraphernalia and whatnot. I mean, in those situations, something more has to be done. So I, want to explore what that looks like with trying to get someone out of that situation when they don't necessarily want the services to get out of that situation, because everybody else is tired of them being in that situation.
All right. And so
I know it's a complicated situation.
Yeah. I just want everyone to keep in mind that certain people don't like meat.
Right.
But you're kind of making some people that don't like meat eat the meat.
Yes.
And not really think about the mental aspect of it and the physical aspect of it, because it affects you in a negative way. If you abstain from eating.
I know, I'm a vegetarian, been one for over 20 years.
Okay, yes. And then for all of a sudden, someone says that they think that they know what's best for you and whatever,
right,
and you're going to do this and whatever, just because you have this condition. So I think that if we're going to do it, we need to have a table, sit down and think about how it's going to affect everyone. And if we can get their peer groups that a lot of them work with understand that they have a say in this,
okay,
that will be a big first step.
Okay.
Get the peer supports that they have.
They feel like they're more in control of it.
Right. Well, not more in control, that they have a say, that people understand why they feel the way that they do.
Got it.
And at this point, no one's really listening. Some people are listening, but they don't feel that they have a seat at the table. And they really should, because it's dealing with their mind, body, and spirit. Right. And where they're going to live and so forth. Do we have rights? We do have rights.
Yes, yes.
So they have rights.
Yes. It's a complex situation, and you definitely don't want to step on someone's rights. Totally get that. And at the same time, everyone who is witnessing it and deals with the effects of the problem that we have with homelessness across this country, you know, I don't want anyone to feel like we're just brushing them away so they're not seen, and because we don't want that,
Right.
because people are humans, and they're if they were created, they're valuable, and their life is worth living.
When you say valuable, one of the things one thing that happened with a former client, the human trafficking,
Yes.
subject to their mental condition, they are manipulating a lot. It's
Right.
steered
Yes.
over into that area. And so I think we can't just turn a blind eye to it. We also need to take that into consideration as well.
Right. Yeah. It's so complex. So complex. Not an easy solution at all. Gosh, I'm gonna need a part 2, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so gonna need a part 2 on this.
Yeah.
Gosh, because we have not even gotten into probating a will and discussion of trust.
And that's a lot, because
Yes.
we run people die, they have businesses, they
Yes.
have airplanes, they have buses, they have body
It's
shops.
not just money and a house.
No, we have to have people run businesses. We have to have people employ people, do payroll, and all of this stuff in their absence. And you have to have stuff planned out. And then just because you have a brother doesn't mean that brother is going to do the right thing.
Right. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yes, I need a part 2
Yes, ma'am.
to really deep dive into that. And I know, mental health, that is your wheelhouse. That is what you have a passion for. And I definitely wanted to explore that side of it, just for the simple fact that, we do have people that are experiencing homelessness, and they have diminished mental capacity for whatever the reason is. Trauma, it is, biological and whatnot. And what do you do in those situations when you have this loved one who is experiencing that side of life, and you want to help them live a better life, and what to do in that space? So going back to no criminal part in there, and having to stand trial based on
Some criminal act. So now on the civil side, we're going through, they're getting the evaluation, and more long-term care is Possibly, if the facility thinks that they.
So the 14 days, the 30 days, and let's say it is determined that more long-term care is needed. So what happens then?
Okay, so the 30 days, prior to the expiration of 30 days, they either or have a hearing in the hospital asking for inpatient treatment involuntarily or outpatient treatment.
Okay.
Or they may not ask for any additional treatment beyond the 30 days.
Okay.
So those are the 3 options there. And then even prior to the expiration of the long-term care, they may ask for a recommitment for them to continue more treatment, because they can't get them stable to their baseline.
Okay.
So it's either going to be involuntary commitment, and that's from either 45 days up to 45 days or up to 90 days.
Okay. And then reevaluation is going to happen after that,
if necessary.
If necessary. So, gosh, I'm that individual that we're going through that, and I'm not happy about it.
No, and I say up to 45, up to 90, because typically most physicians say, or psychiatrists say, that the patient's going to usually stabilize within 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
And then they'll discharge them.
Yes, because they have to write out goals as part of the planning and their self notes. So, okay, so let's say I'm past the 45. I'm getting to the 90-day period, and I get better. I relapse. I get better. I'm kind of going through that particular cycle. And so then the hospital would petition for more time for me to.
They could, or they have an assisted outpatient treatment that we're trying to get restarted.
Okay.
And so those are for the frequent flyers, as I call them.
Gotcha.
That are in and out. And there are a lot of successful success stories, and the peer support that they provide through that program helps a lot of people stay out
of the inpatient.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so that's the reason why we're big pushers of that. When COVID hit, that made it very challenging.
Sure.
And before then, there was a conflict of schedules with the judge, and so it was a lot going on. But I see the vision coming to fruition where we're able to help people in the outpatient.
Okay.
But it could be a lot more effective if we had more community. But I don't feel that we have the confidentiality there that is definitely required in order to work with people.
Yes.
The confidentiality, the HIPAA.
Because that's easy in inpatient. Yes, but dealing on the outpatient side of things, that can become a bit of a challenge because you want to make sure that people have licensure and they're professional in that industry. And yes, you want to help people, but we don't need to have bedtime conversations and
pillow talk.
Yes, pillow talk and dinner party conversations about particular people and giving out their information. But talk about outpatients. So the frequent flyers. So what does that look like as far as legally enforcing the outpatient?
They can't enforce medication compliance.
Wow. Okay.
They can emphasize it and encourage it, but they cannot sign an order forcing medications on that patient. Okay. And you can't make them stay in the program. So that's where the peer support comes in, to be there to encourage them to stay in for services. They come in, they talk to the judge. What are they doing to work their plan? How's it working for them? They have graduations, they have celebrations, all these type of things.
Right.
To encourage them to
stay on the path.
Right. And then be so exemplary that you are there to help another person.
And become a peer supporter as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this was a fascinating conversation on how the courts operate in that capacity. Because it is complex.
Mm-hmm.
It's not straightforward at all. Because there's so many different ways that things can go. And of course, the individual that is in this situation has to be protected, because you definitely can have unscrupulous people abusing the system, and you don't want that occurring.
They try. Well, that we put a stop.
Good.
That's my job.
And I wish a lot of attorneys understood that and make sure they're standing up for their clients when someone is trying to push these kind of things onto an individual because they feel like they can manipulate the situation. So I want to thank you for your time coming on.
Absolutely.
And yes, I need a part 2.
Okay.
I need a part 2.
Okay.
Because yes, we did not get into the deep dive with dealing with trust and having, situations where, you know, the probate court needs to make a decision on things that are in trust and litigating that entire process. And I wanted to walk through more of what the probate court was about. But, you know, with the city of Dallas, and again, with homelessness and mental health being such an important thing that all of us need to be sensitive about, I really wanted to pull on that information with you. So if you're open to coming back again.
I am.
So I will definitely be reaching out to you about 2026 dates. So
Okay.
again, guys, it is so important to understand what our government does for us, the limitations, but also the power inside of that. And I have always asked people to go and visit courts, especially when there's an incumbent. And I'm not sure with probate courts, because y'all are dealing with very sensitive information,
Right.
if that's something that is open to the public to come and just observe
Right.
what is going on.
Right. They can do that.
Okay.
Although a lot of our hearings are remote hearings by Zoom,
Okay.
they still can come into the courtroom and observe
Okay.
a Zoom hearing in progress. We just ask, I would prefer that we have some advance notice so we can have the monitor set up where they can actually see everything
Okay.
going on.
Okay.
But when we have mental illness court, usually, and that's of a private nature, we people they're not able to use their cell phones or have their cell phones there.
Okay.
They can't take notes. They can't say who was in the court or
Okay.
any of that. And we don't use their names.
Okay.
We use their
Okay.
initials to protect their privacy.
Okay, great.
For that very reason.
Okay, great. So again, I implore every voter out there and future voter, 17 3/4 when the election is going to come, for our high schoolers out there, to go and observe your government in action. Because if you understand what is supposed to occur, then you can make the appropriate decision in the ballot box. And I know that we have a lot of challenges going on, and we are, you know, in some challenging times right now, but this is a huge opportunity to increase your awareness and become an astute voter. So again, I appreciate you coming on and having this discussion. So yes, look for her to come back in the 2026 season here so we can take a deeper dive into things, because you've given me a lot of food for thought. And I'm hoping that this will spur more of us to question things and help be part of that village with providing solutions that all of us can live with. So again, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
My viewers, thank you for tuning in, and I will make sure that I address any comments and questions, and I will tag the judge if she needs to provide any clarity on things. With my new camera support that I have, I'm not able to toggle back and forth between applications, or it will cut off the recording. So you have to love technology. So I will make sure that I post and advertise the next show that's coming up next weekend. No, because it's the 30th, so there's not a show. September 6th, I will be having SB3 conversation on with Tamara Neal Pleasant to talk about, you know, marijuana and the ordinance that the city of Dallas passed, and with the Texas legislators pushing to criminalize things more and ban more things. What does that mean for us here in the city of Dallas? So again, have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Stay cool. And again, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend.